Hi everyone, today we're doing part 3 of Hack the Box Academy attacking web application with FFUF. So we're going to be doing these 3 pages today and the final one will be done tomorrow. Well, maybe today. So we're on the page parameter getting, fuzz and get requests. So if you run a recursive scan on admin.academy.hackthebox, we should find admin dot, you can pretty much get this with the paw and the directory admin and admin.php. And if you try accessing the page, we get the following: you don't have access to read the flag. So that indicates that there must be something that identifies users to verify whether they can read the flag. We did not log in, nor do we have a cookie that can be verified at the backend. So perhaps there is a key which we can pass to get to read the flag. Such keys should usually be passed as a parameter using get or post in HTTP request. In this section, we will discuss how to fuzz for such parameters until we get a parameter that can be accepted by the page. Fuzzing parameters may expose unpublished parameters that are publicly available or accessible. Such parameters could tend to lead to less tested or less secured, as it's important to test such parameters in web vulnerabilities as we discussed in other modules. This is a good point because it's not uncommon for some web pages to have HTTP trace, and trace is like a get is pretty much a type of request that can be accepted by HTTP. Pretty much HTTP trace request will just get you like a full header which can reveal service versions. Say if you're running an outdated version of Apache, you can normally just go run Foxy proxy, open up Burp Suite, set this up, reload the page, and send this to repeater, and just change where it says top get or post, change that to trace, and you could normally get at least a file downloaded that you can download off the web page that will give you some really good information, whether that's an outdated web page or an outdated version of Apache or Tomcat or whatever. So similarly, how we've been fuzzing various parts of the page, we'll be use FFUF to enumerate parameters. Let's start with getting for get request, which I usually pass straight after the URL with the question mark symbol, like admin academy hack the box par admin.php param1 equals key. So all we have to do is replace param1 with in the example with fuzz and rerun our scan before we can start. However, we must pick an appropriate word list. Once again, seclist is just that in opt useful seclist discovery web content.burp.parameter names. If you've downloaded it yourself or downloaded it from Kali Linux, like sudo apt install seclist, this will be in user share, not opt useful, just to remind everyone that's where it is for me. Once again, we will get many results back, so we will filter out the default response size we are getting. So let's look here. So we get FFUF slash dot w after useful seclist discovery web content parameter name. That's the word list we're going to be using, and you can see here they're fuzzing for a key. They don't know the actual value, the value. I think it's the value per key. They don't know the value, but they know the key, I guess you could say, yeah. So you can see the filtering by some value, some size value, and you can see they got something right here. So if we go back, we get a hit. So let's try to visit the page, and I'd get request to see whether you can read the flag now. So as you can see, we got 2 hits back, and one has been decapitated, and it appears to be no longer in use. So let's do this. So using what you've learned in this session, run a parameter fuzzing scan on the page. What is the parameter set by this web page? So you can see I've already have it, but I want to go through it, so use also learn how to do it. So let's open up a new tab. Let's do FFUF slash user. Whoops. Yeah, mine's in user share seclist. And let's see, where was it? For them it was in discovery web content. So let's do discovery. You can see I use seclist a lot, as you can see by the autocomplete web content by parameter. And we can see right here that we have this. But one thing I want to say, and I want to stress, I can't stress this enough, you need to make sure that this is in your etc host, because the IP address might be different. So let's just do a quick check. We don't know etc host. So let's do that. And let's go here. Yeah, you can see the IP address is different, so this would not work. So let's get rid of this. And let's copy this here. Actor Box Academy. That wouldn't have worked because the IP is different. So let's close this and put in the new IP address tab. And then we put that in. That's the IP corrected. So this should work. So now all we need to do is change the port, as the port is different. We get the port from here, so let's just grab the port and put that in. Port is in. Looks like we are ready to roll. So one thing I want to do is just go back up, and so I'm going to explain a little bit more. So they're running it on the subdomain admin.academy.hackthebox. Just looks like it hasn't been secured properly, the admin subdomain, because most subdomains aren't really meant to be publicly accessible, but so in some cases they may still be available through public DNS. And we can see here that this hasn't been configured properly, so we can see the admin directory and the page admin.php with the value and the key value pair here. So let's just get this to run and let's see what we get. One thing I want to mention is don't be an idiot like me and forget to add it to your etc host file. Remember to put admin into your etc host file, because that got me stuck for a while. I was just trying to remember what did I mess up on, and it turns out I just forgot to add this to my etc host file. It happens to everyone, like it's just a silly mistake. But you can see here we get the value user here for the user equals the key. And the way I figured out to filter by the size here is that I went up here, and we could see we're just getting a bunch of random junk, and this doesn't exist at all. So I filtered by the size of 798, and that was it. That's how I pretty much was able to get the right one here. So we've run this section, we're on the next section now. So let's, hopefully I don't mess up like that again. That took me way too long to figure out. So the difference between post and get requests is that post requests are not passed in the URL and cannot be simply appended with the question mark symbol. Post requests are passed in the data field within the HTTP request. You can check out the request module to learn more about HTTP request. To fuzz the data field with fuzz, we need to use a -d flag. We saw previously in the FFUF.h, we can add X to post requests to send post requests. So a tip in PHP post data content type only access application.x form URL encoded, www form URL encoded. So we can set that in for FUF with h content type application x dot. You can see this actually as well in Burp Suite. If you just do burp, if you capture the request on the page, it will have this content type field in Burp Suite, and you can just copy it from there. It's just something that I'd like to point out that I didn't say in this module. So let's repeat what we did earlier. Place our fuzz keyword after the -d flag. So FUF w user will opt to use full checklist, discovery, web content, burp parameter names. You can see the /u for user, HTTP admin, academy, hack the box, port. You can see the same pages as well again. But this time they're fuzzing for post requests, so we don't know what the value of key is. We know there's a key, but we don't know the value of the key, which is what this is trying to explain. So the X is for post request and -d is the data. We just want to find out what is the actual value. We know we have a user value, but we don't know the key. We know the value, but not the key. So we need to figure out what the key is. So H is the content type we're using. This is content type application. If you don't know, you can just go on Burp Suite, capture this page request, open this Burp Suite up, load this page up, capture the page request, and you'll find that in the header somewhere. So it's just pretty much capturing a post request on the page with a -x and d for data, and the h for the content type, and that's pretty much all that's different. So as we see this time, we got a couple of hits. One of them we get is a get request and another parameter, which is ID. We will see what we get with if we send a post request with the ID in the ID parameter. We can do so with curl. So we can see here curl admin hack the box academy. Let's see -x for the post request, d for the data. So we know the ID is, well, the key is ID. So we can see here the content type as well. So that's pretty interesting. So let's move on to the next page. And our final page for this video. Next video I'll be doing this. So value fuzzing. At the fuzzing a working parameter, we now have to fuzz for the correct value that should return a flag content that we need. This section will discuss fuzzing for parameters, which should be fairly similar to fuzzing for parameters. Well, parameter value, which is similar for parameters. So once we develop our word list, custom word list, when it comes to fuzzing for similar parameters, we may not find pre-made word lists that can work for us, as each parameter would expect different type or data type. For some parameters like username, we can find pre-made word lists for potential users, or we may create our own based on users that have potentially used in this website. So in such cases, we can look for various word lists under the seclist directory and find which one may contain values matching with the parameter we're targeting. In some cases, like custom parameters, we have to develop our own list, so we can guess the ID parameter will accept numbers of some sort. So the ID can be some custom number or numerical or sequential, like 1 to 1,000 or 1,000 to like 1,000,000 or whatever that number is. So we'll start by counting into 1 to 1,000. So we can see a for loop for I in the range of 1 to 1,000. This is sequence. Do echo in this value here. So we're gonna echo this to a file called text.done. Well, IDs.text. So let's copy this and let's put this in. So let's put that in. We got that. And see if you do cat IDs, you can see we get up to 1,000. So we got that out of the way. Now let's move on to doing it. So our command should be fairly similar to the post command, which we use to get the parameters, but our fuzz keyword should be put in the parameter value would be. So we will use IDs, well, IDs.txt word list that we created. So the word list is IDs, and we can see here the data type. We can see the ID of fuzz and the content type of application real well encoded, if I can talk. So let's get this. So let's just put this, and we'll figure that out later, the filter size. So let's keep going down. As we see, we get it right straight away. We send in another post request to curl, which we did in the previous section, and use ID value that we have found and collect the flag. So let's see what it says. Try to create the .txt word list and identify the accepted value from with a fuzzing scan. Then use it in a post request with curl to collect the flag. So what is the flag? So let's figure that out. We'll paste this in. So the port, we need to enter the port. So let's go down. Port is here. Oops, don't reset, or I might get a new IP address. So let me see. We'll get this. So you want to get this IP, well, the port, put that in. Port looks similar, only one way to find out. Press enter. Yeah, so we know what we need to filter by. We need to filter by the size 768. So let's just keep going. We get 73. So we got it straight away. We need to do curl. So we need to curl HTTP Academy post request data is ID equals 70 key. That's the key value pair. So the -h for the header type, which will be content type application URL encoded. So let's change the port. We'll need to change the port. If you don't know this, you can just go back to the previous page. So if I go back here and if we go to the bottom, we'll be able to see that. But I'm just going to quickly get this, put that in, and I'll show you if you don't know where it is. If you just scroll down to the bottom, we can see this here. Just make a modification. The key will be 73 and that's it. And remember to enter the port as well. So I'm going to just get this running and see what we get. So we get, looks like we're getting something. We get here in the div head, well, our top div, which is parameter fuzzing the key. So cool. Now I think after this we'll be doing the skill assessment. I'll be doing this later on today, or maybe first thing tomorrow, never know. I'll see you guys in the next video.